So chapter 15. Chapter 15 is on property management. Like I mentioned earlier in a previous video, that property management is a big portion on the test. The leases that we talked about in the previous chapter, and then some of the real estate math that we'll look at later. And then the property management portion in the A&P book are going to be some great resources. This chapter does have some good information on property management, but really it's a very, very short chapter. So again, I strongly encourage you to go into the A&P book and review that property management portion in that book. Again, you'll see that it's covering a lot of what we've already covered, but that's going to be a portion on the test that you will have to get through. So looking at property management out of chapter 15, though, it starts talking about residential property and talks about a residential manager or an on-site manager. For your test, you could see both of those used interchangeably. And an on-site manager will live usually on-site, and their unit will be discounted or they'll be paid a salary because they're going to take care of the premises. And it could be something from mowing the lawn or removing the snow to handing out lease applications. It could be to the extent that they actually show the available units to prospective tenants. They don't need to be licensed. That could be a question on an exam. So they would not have to have a property management or a broker associate or a responsible broker license to do those actions, okay? The next one is office space. Really, this chapter is talking about the need for property management in certain areas. So residential property management, now we have office space property management. As an office space property manager, you're going to consider the needs of the tenant, but you're also going to manage the actual office park that you're in charge of managing. We have an office park here in Sioux Falls. Well, we have many of them, but the one that you see in your handout is the Edges. That's what it's called. It's on the intersection, or I should say the corner of where Highway I-29 and 229 meet, or Interstate 29 and 229 will intersect. There's a kind of a triangular piece there that is on the northeast side of that road or that intersection, and that's called the Edges. And so it's all office. You won't see regular single-family homes in there. You won't see any industrial type spaces. It's all office, some retail, but mainly things like there's two different tech schools there, National American University and Globe University are located in there. Total Card and Meta Payment System is located there as well. There's some other smaller businesses that are located in there, but that's what an office park looks like. And there is property management companies that manage office parks like that one. I included this. It's not in your book, but you'll see on this slide where we classify different types of strip malls or shopping centers, I guess, to be more accurate, if I look at the header of that slide. And the reason why I put it in there is because it is something that you could see on your test. I actually got it out of the property management book that we use when we teach that course here at ProEd. There are about 6 to 7 different classifications of shopping centers, and I have listed here for you the three most popular ones that you would possibly see on an exam. And so I'm going to draw these out for you. I'm going to give you locations. If you aren't from the area, you can Google these. I'm going to give you the intersections, and you can certainly Google these and see exactly what I'm talking to you about. But the first one is a strip mall. And I think most of us are familiar with what a strip mall looks like. And you'll see in the definition that it says a single building with 4 to 12 bays like Clock Tower Square on 41st and Marion. Okay? That definition is really insignificant. On all these definitions really are. You're, in the sense that you're not going to be quizzed on that it has 4 to 12 bays. You're not going to see a question that says how many bays, or we could say shops, does a strip center have? And it says something like A is 3 to 6, B is 5 to 8, C is whatever. You're not going to see questions like that, okay? But you need to understand the concept. So right now, ProEd is located in a strip center. There's strip centers of all different sizes and types, and that's what a strip mall or strip center looks like. Usually, I grew up in a small town. Like you could loosely call Main Street a strip center, even though you have larger buildings and they're all connected. The next larger town that was closest to us had a few strip centers, and those strip centers usually had, anywhere from 5 to 7 stores located in that strip center or shops. Okay. The next one on your slide is a neighborhood shopping center, and that's 15 to 20 stores around 3 acres of land. Again, not necessary. Just I need you to understand the concept, though. So if I look at a neighborhood shopping center, I'm going to have you think of 26th Street in Sioux Falls and Sycamore Avenue. Now, when I draw this one out and then I draw out the regional shopping center, I'm going to have my north and south, east and west go a little bit different. Traditionally, we always do north going up. But for whatever reason, my brain, this is how I'm seeing it, so bear with me. My north here is this way. That's north, okay? So if you're from Sioux Falls, don't try to correct me on this because you're saying, well, this isn't how Sycamore runs. When you look at it, that north is this way, it is accurate, okay? So here's this intersection, and I have a Hy-Vee here. There's a little Walgreens. I have a car wash and a strip mall here, little Hy-Vee gas station, Pizza Hut, L-shaped strip mall, Core Trust Bank, another strip mall, Burger King. I have a Lewis, and then a Sanford neighborhood clinic, okay? And then pretty much everything around here is all residential. And so that's my little neighborhood shopping center. The next bullet point that you have on your slide is a regional center. A regional center is 70 to 225 stores and services a radius of 10 to 50 miles. Again, do you need to know that? No. But here's the concept of a regional center. We actually have one here in Sioux Falls. So for this example, north is that way, okay? So bear with me, but that's going to be our north. And this is 41st, and this is Louise Avenue. And what creates this regional center here in Sioux Falls is our mall. the Empire Mall primarily, where Macy's, Yonkers, Sears, Penny's, all those stores are located at. That's going to create this regional center. Because if you look around it, it just continues to reach out further and further with commercial, retail, office, and all that. Primarily because of the proximity they have to this mall. So I'm going to put the mall right here. So this regional center would reach all the way up to Marion Road. I have a little Hy-Vee over there. This turns into 26th Street, so you may have gotten off on this exit if you're coming to Pro-Ed from the north, or maybe 41st Street exit. It probably goes as far east, north I mean, as this. If I want to go west, it goes as far west as Marion. If I'm going to go south, I could go all the way down to um, 57th, or I could take Louise all the way down to 69th, because I have Billions Dodge dealership, and there's more commercial that is going up around there. Right now, there's a Lewis right here. And then the most important thing on this intersection is right there. And if you're from Sioux Falls, you probably know what it is, but it's B&G Milky Way. And if it's open, because it's only open during the summer and spring and early fall, if it's open while you're here, make sure you check it out, especially if you love strawberry ice cream. They got the best on the planet. So that's as far south as we're going to go. And we could safely say that it goes as far east as Western Avenue. Western Avenue and 41st, you're going to have Scheels. You're going to have Best Buy in that strip mall there, the Western Mall. You could probably carry it all the way down to Minnesota Avenue, but you end up thinning out your commercial into just right along 41st Street. So you're safer to say that it's on Western. You're not going to be quizzed, of course, on this map, but I'm just creating the concept. Now, one thing I want to point out is that within all of this, for instance, like Pro-Ed would be right there, and we're in a strip mall. So even though I'm in a strip center, I'm also included in this regional shopping center. Farmland has a need for management as well. In fact, in our property management courses that we teach, we have actually had folks go through it to get their property manager's license. And their goal, or what they're doing with it, is they're going to manage farmland. So if we look at the slide, the goal or the job of a farmland property manager is to analyze the farm to evaluate the production potential. They're going to discuss the different lease terms that are available. Now, I want to point out that whether we're talking about a share crop or cash rent, those are not words and definitions that you're going to need to know for your real estate exam, okay? It's good to have read these words, but as far as how the inner workings of sharecropping goes versus cash rent is not something you're going to be tested on, okay? Back to the slide, we have marketing techniques, production records, and financial statements. And then next slide talks about these management contracts. This is a great slide to highlight for your test. These contracts that we have as property managers, or I said as well, as a broker associate or responsible broker, you can do property management. So these management contracts that we would have between us and the owner does create an agency relationship. Very important. What type of agency does a property manager have with their owner or their client? It's under general agency. We looked at those tiers of agency in an earlier chapter. And we looked at chapter 7, to be precise. And then finally, we have 4 different categories of maintenance when it comes to property management. And this affects a lot of times commercial property and maybe even residential. But it's a good slide to highlight as well. You will see some of these terms on an exam. So we have preventative maintenance, and that's going to be things like changing out the furnace filter or having the furnace checked or ran through before winter sets in. On the farm, growing up, we did a lot of preventative maintenance in the winter or before spring hit. We would get the tractors ready, change the oil, change the transmission fluid. We would grease all of the equipment so it ran efficiently and so that it lasted longer. So that's an example of preventative maintenance, okay? Getting the oil changed in your car every 3,000 miles, preventative maintenance. Corrective maintenance is when you actually have a furnace that goes out that now you have to repair, or the AC breaks down. That's when you're repairing that, that's a form of corrective maintenance. Ordinary maintenance is routine cleaning. In most commercial spaces, they have a third-party cleaning service or maid service that comes in and cleans the hallways and restrooms. That would fall into this category. And then construction maintenance is going to be with building, not building new construction, but inside a strip center, for instance. Sometimes if you go in some of the newer ones especially, you'll see that it's just a vacant hollow shell. It's just a big open room, whether it's 1,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet, just this big open room. And you'll see sometimes on the sides out front, it'll say build to suit. And that build to suit means that the builder or owner or whoever owns that strip mall or building will build out that unit to suit the needs of that tenant. So let's say you're a dentist, okay? And so you find the space, it's vacant, and it's just this hollow shell inside, and there's not even carpet. It's just concrete floors and studded walls. That's it. And so they'll build it out for you. If you wanted an entryway and you need 2 offices and then you need 6 different rooms all around for your dental chairs and your x-ray room and all that, they'll build all of that out for you in this type of space, and that's going to be underneath construction maintenance. And so that's it for this chapter.